Hi, it is me again with Flora the Cob, and we finally get around to giving you part 4 of our jumping series. Check out our previous 3 videos if you like, where I share some thoughts, experiences and suggestions on how to get more confident and improve teamwork with your horse when jumping. Just remember, if you are a beginner rider or have a very green horse or are under 18, do not attempt these exercises without someone experienced around who can help you stay safe. Today I want to show you some jumping exercises which helped Flora and me greatly to improve our jumping. When jumping with your horse, you can help her greatly by keeping your body in a particular position, which makes it easier for you to stay balanced and for the horse to carry you over jumps and rough terrain confidently. This position is also called the 2-point seat because you only touch the saddle with 2 points of your body, your 2 knees, as opposed to the full or 3-point seat where your body touches the saddle with 3 points, your 2 knees and your bottom. The 3-point seat you would use mostly when riding on flat ground and at a leisurely pace. For the 2-point seat, you make sure that your hips remain in line with your heels to keep your center of gravity above the saddle. Don't arch your back, but keep your back and tummy muscles engaged. And don't crouch with your shoulders or hunch your upper back. You should be able to look ahead with your head easily. Flora is a very laid-back horse usually and sometimes needs to get woken up a bit, so I take a small short whip I can use to tap her shoulder lightly to get her attention. The first exercise I want to show you is great for warming up your horse before the real jumping begins. It helps the horse to bend in both directions and to learn to change direction quickly after a jump. I lay a single jumping pole on the ground in the centre of the arena and ride circles of about 15 meters diameter over it in walk, trot and canter. I change direction often so that Flora has to bend either way. This exercise is also great for practicing changing legs in canter, which you usually need to do frequently when jumping a show jumping course. I try to ride Flora as straight as possible over the pole and encourage her to pick up her legs over it properly by keeping her speed lively and active. Just before the pole, I let her know with my legs and reins whether we stay going round in the same direction or change direction. Also a great exercise to introduce flying changes, and Flora got so tuned in that she even gave me 1 or 2. The next exercise can follow straight away, or you can keep it for warming up on another day. It is great for practicing different stride lengths in canter, which is very useful when coming up to a jump and helps the horse to be able to take off correctly and confidently. I lay out 2 poles along the long side of the arena and I ride over them in canter, counting the strides Flora does comfortably between poles at a steady pace. When we build up a good rhythm in that pace, I ask Flora to shorten and lengthen her stride. She covers the distance between these poles with 4 strides, so I ask her to shorten her stride to fit in 5 strides. And I also ask her to lengthen her stride to fit in 3 strides. If a horse is not used to this exercise at all, it will take some time. Flora is relatively new to this, but it really gets her thinking, and it is a great feeling when she gets my signals and adjusts her stride accordingly. The next exercise finally moves towards proper jumps. Remember the exercises we did with ground poles in one of our previous videos? I lay out the poles again the same way with 2.5 strides between each pole. 2 poles go onto the ground and the last one is turned into a cross pole. I start off in trot to introduce Flora to this new exercise and then work her over them in canter also. When she's built up a good rhythm and worked out what's what with the pole distances, I pop the cross poles up into a proper jump. This one is about 60 centimetres, but you can make it as low as you like. Sometimes horses get bored with lower jumps when they are used to jumping substantial heights, so the trick is to keep them motivated. As an extra challenge, I prop up the first 2 poles on tyres, as we did before when we did our bouncing pole exercise in an earlier video. So she really has to lift her legs. Of course, we change direction and do everything the other way around also. Horses tend to learn things in a way that makes it hard for them to transfer a new task to their other side. So if you just practice something going round on the right rein, they might not be able to just transfer this skill to doing it on their other side. So it is important to give them the opportunity to practice everything on both sides. You can see here that we have some trouble to get the turn right when approaching the jump, and Flora ends up approaching the jump at an angle and not facing the jump at its centre. So I give her some guidance by putting poles down in front of the jump as a sort of corridor and visual marker. And it helps us to improve our approach so much that I am tempted to try a few higher jumps. This one is an 80 centimetre jump, and once Flora figures out that she now seriously needs to lift her legs, she has no bother approaching it in a straight line and measuring out her strides well for a correct takeoff. Well done, Flora, and what fun it is to fly over these jumps in harmony. Flora is a horse that needs regular exercises to practice pacing her strides and working on her rhythm. So we've come up with this little grid exercise that I want to share with you. This is also great for helping Flora to get quicker in her thinking, especially when it comes to changing her stride or changing directions. I use 4 poles for this exercise, making a small rectangle with them. 2 poles are laid out, just one of Flora's strides apart. The other 2 are laid out like bouncing poles with no stride between them. I also arrange a few barrels on each corner so that I can change from going over the poles to letting Flora do a proper jump, with short distances in between.
Give in.
It doesn't really matter which way you go and what pattern you ride, as long as it involves a lot of changes of direction and changes of pace from fast canter to collected trot.
She's working it out. I know, Flora.
That's how it works, isn't it? Good.
And don't forget to enjoy and have fun, of course. This is not all supposed to be hard labour. It is also to stretch yours and your horse's skills a bit and get satisfaction from seeing what is doable for you both. If you include jumps, don't put them too high for a start, as distances are quite short and angles steep. The barrels I use are about 50 centimetre height.
Maybe we'll leave that for today. We'll revisit it.
A variation to this exercise is a setup like this. 2 bouncing poles and then a low jump, and then change the angle slightly to do another jump a couple of strides away. This really stretches Flora's ability to lift her legs accordingly, keep her rhythm and speed going, and change direction at short distances. I can feel how Flora really has to work, not just physically but mentally. This is the first time she's faced with this sort of exercise, and you can see how after a short time she already is working out how to improve her step to manage the obstacles in her way. Again, keep the jumps slow. Even cross pose would do for the last jump. It is not so much about practicing to jump high jumps. This is for getting confident with leg movement and changes of speed and direction. This exercise is great for building confidence before you approach higher combination jumps, where you and the horse have to judge the distance between jumps correctly for safe takeoff for the second or third jump.
You're really struggling, aren't you? Well done. Well done, Flora. Well done. That was really hard for her. But we're going to practice this. Maybe we can give you an update in a few weeks when we've practiced a bit more, because it's a lot of steps to work out, isn't it? Good girl.
And then I feel Flora and I are ready to return to jumping higher combination jumps. Again, we start easy with cross poles and practice the correct stride length between jumps, and then build on height slowly until we are at our current maximum height of 80 centimeters. Once the horse has worked out the distance between jumps and gets more confident to tackle this correctly and proactively, this is a great fun exercise. And that's what it's all about for us, really. To have fun together, doing something we feel we are well equipped and well able to do, and enjoy using our skills in a way that makes us feel good. All of you who have jumped with horses over a more substantial jump know what I'm talking about. There's nothing quite like being lifted up into the air by a huge heavy creature and carried safely over a jump with a mighty leap. I hope very much that this series of videos will help the ones amongst you who would like to improve jumping with their horses. And I wish you every success and lots of fun with your horse. And finally, with all COVID restrictions lifting gradually around here, Flora and I were able to put our hard practice skills to a test at a recent riding club show. What fun that was! Thanks for watching.